What if I told you there's a stock trading around just $2 that could potentially become a 10x winner? Sounds crazy, right? And no, I'm not saying Plug Power ticker Plug is guaranteed to hit $20. But here's what caught my attention. The market has absolutely crushed this stock. Right now, investors are basically saying, we don't believe this turnaround story. But what if they're wrong? That's where things get interesting. So let's break down the real investment case for Plug, because there's a lot more to this story than just hydrogen hype. Right now, Plug is trading around the $2 range. And after getting hammered over the past few years, the big question isn't whether the stock has fallen. We already know it has. The real question is, can Plug Power actually turn the business around? Plug recently reported around $178 million in quarterly revenue. But honestly, revenue isn't the number I'm watching the closest. Margins are. Because investors don't get paid just because a company sells more. Eventually, that revenue needs to turn into profits and cash flow. And Plug is trying to prove it can finally do that. Management has raised its 2026 revenue growth guidance to around 15% to 16%, while targeting positive EBITDA in the fourth quarter. Now here's the catch. A target is not the same thing as a result. If Plug hits those targets, Wall Street could start looking at Plug very differently. But if management misses again, the stock could get smoked. That's why I see Plug as a high-risk, high-reward investment. And now we get to the crazy part, the 10x scenario. If Plug is around $2.17, a 10x move would put the stock around $21.70. Is that possible? Technically, yes. Would I call it my base case? Absolutely not. For Plug to reach $20 plus, we'd need to see a much stronger business. Revenue would need to keep growing. Margins would need to improve dramatically. Cash burn would have to come down. And most importantly, Plug would need to prove sustainable profitability. Because Wall Street can tolerate losses for a while, but eventually it wants proof. And that's where the real test begins. Plug has exposure to hydrogen production, fuel cell systems, and electrolyzers. If the hydrogen economy really takes off over the next several years, Plug could benefit, but there's a big if here. Hydrogen has been a hot story for years. The opportunity may be huge, but execution is everything. And that's why I wouldn't simply say, hydrogen is the future, so Plug will 10x. That's way too easy. Here's my personal take. I would not call Plug a safe investment, not even close. If someone told me they wanted to put their entire savings into Plug because they think it's going 10x, I'd say, whoa, slow down. That's way too risky. But for investors who understand speculative stocks and can handle serious volatility, Plug is definitely worth watching. Here are my scenarios. My base case target over the next 12 to 24 months is around $5 to $8. My bullish case is $10 to $15. And the extreme bull case? That's where I could see the 20-plus zone becoming possible. But remember, that's a scenario, not a guarantee. There's also one major risk I wouldn't ignore, cash. Plug still needs to prove it can operate with much less cash burn and avoid excessive shareholder dilution. Because if the company keeps raising capital and issuing more shares, that can seriously limit the upside for existing investors. So for me, the real Plug investment thesis is simple. Can Plug Power turn its hydrogen ambitions into a profitable business? That's the million-dollar question. Now, I want to hear from you. If Plug is around $2, would you put $1,000 into it? Or would you wait until the company proves it can become profitable? And what's your target? 5, 10, or do you actually think 20 plus is possible? Drop your number in the comments. And if you want more stock breakdowns without all the Wall Street hype, hit that subscribe button. Because with Plug, the next big move may not come from another flashy headline. It could come from the numbers. And if those numbers finally start moving in the right direction, that's when things could get really interesting. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before investing.